Some people spend their entire lives chasing a finish line they've never clearly defined. They work hard, climb ladders, tick off milestones, and yet, the moment they reach one goal, the next appears on the horizon. The race never ends. Aristotle asked a piercing question over 2,000 years ago. If everything we do leads to something else, what sits at the very top of that chain? His answer was simple but profound: happiness. Not the fleeting, surface-level happiness of a laugh or a like, but the deep, soul-satisfying state of living well. And yet, here we are, centuries later, still confused about what that actually means. Happiness today is often marketed to us as a smiling face on social media, a postcard-perfect vacation, or a shopping bag swinging from our wrist. But real happiness isn't a performance, it's a way of being. It's less about the smile on your face and more about the peace in your soul. Understanding this, however, isn't easy. Life is full of false shortcuts, paths that look inviting but lead to disappointment. The Chinese philosophy of Daoism offers a fitting metaphor. Imagine life as a dense, thorn-covered forest. In the middle, there's a smooth, paved road that's easy to walk. But on either side, twisting and overgrown trails lure us with promises, only to lead us into swamps, thorns, and dead ends. Finding happiness is about recognizing which path is truly worth taking before we wander too far down the wrong one. Throughout history, philosophers, spiritual teachers, and thinkers from all corners of the world have pointed us toward this right path. From Confucius to Aristotle, from Al-Ghazali to Buddhist sages, they've each lit beacons to guide us through life's forest. And while their languages, customs, and cultures were different, the deeper message often converged. After years of exploring these teachings, three recurring pillars emerge, three truths that can change the way we live, and more importantly, how we feel. The first pillar is this: happiness is not measured by pleasure. The ancient Greeks had a word for pleasure, hedonia, and yes, it feels good. It's the comfort of a warm drink on a cold day, the laughter at a dinner table with friends. But there's another word they used, eudaimonia, a kind of flourishing that often comes wrapped in challenge, not comfort. Raising children, building something meaningful, dedicating yourself to a craft, these moments might be exhausting while you're in them, but they leave you with the kind of satisfaction that lingers long after the moment passes. Buddhism captures this well. Pleasure is just the temporary satisfaction of desire. You want water, you drink water, and you feel better. But new desires pop up endlessly, like a never-ending game of whack-a-mole. If happiness relies solely on pleasure, we'll be chasing it forever, never arriving. That's why pleasure alone cannot be the goal. Yet we must be careful not to romanticize the opposite, suffering for its own sake. Life's purpose isn't to collect misery as proof of meaning. The truth lies somewhere deeper. Which brings us to the second pillar, moderation. This is at the heart of Daoism's balance between yin and yang, light and dark, activity and rest, passion and calm. It's the Swedish idea of lagom, just the right amount. Moderation reminds us that life rarely thrives at the extremes. Diets fail when they swing between indulgence and deprivation. Goals crumble when they demand all or nothing. True balance is both a personal discipline and a social responsibility. Taking all the cookies leaves none for others. Drinking 7 coffees in one sitting turns pleasure into discomfort. In the middle way, we find sustainability, and sustainability is the quiet backbone of happiness. The third pillar is perhaps the most surprising. Happiness requires goodness. It's not enough to live well for yourself. Lasting happiness emerges when your life aligns with certain virtues. Across cultures and eras, these virtues repeat themselves. Altruism over selfishness, kindness over cruelty, justice over injustice, wisdom over ignorance, and humility over arrogance. You might find them in Augustine's monastic rules, in Islamic zakat, in Buddhist teachings, or in secular philosophy. Their forms vary, but their essence does not. Virtue is not about perfection, it's about orientation. Are we moving toward generosity or away from it? Toward fairness or toward exploitation? Toward learning or toward denial? Robin Dunbar's research on gossip offers a modern twist on this. Communities naturally weed out those who cheat, exploit, or harm others. Over time, the people most embraced socially, the ones with friends, allies, and support, are those who act with decency. And as study after study confirms, deep, trusting relationships are among the strongest predictors of happiness. So how do we actually use these pillars in everyday life? Start with the first. When you find yourself in a season of difficulty, resist the temptation to label it as unhappiness. A new parent might be exhausted, stressed, and stretched thin, yet still claim they've never felt more fulfilled. This is the paradox of eudaimonia. A life rich in meaning can feel heavy in the moment, but beautiful in hindsight. Then, look at the second pillar. Where are you pushing too far toward extremes? If your life swings between overindulgence and self-denial, between overwork and avoidance, the middle ground might hold more peace than you realize. True change, whether in health, relationships, or personal growth, tends to happen when it's sustainable, not when it's driven by short-lived extremes. Finally, test yourself against the third pillar. Are your actions aligned with goodness, not just in your own eyes, but in the eyes of those you respect? This isn't about bending to popular opinion, but about measuring your choices against virtues that have stood the test of centuries. Altruism, kindness, justice, wisdom, humility, none of these are outdated. They've lasted because they work, not just for society, but for the individual who lives them. If life feels heavy, these pillars can act as a compass. Ask yourself, am I chasing comfort instead of meaning? Am I living in extremes instead of balance? Am I neglecting the virtues that keep my relationships and my own conscience healthy? Sometimes, the path back to happiness isn't about adding anything new. It's about realigning with what's been true all along. Happiness is not a mystery locked in ancient scrolls or hidden in self-help bestsellers. It's not waiting for you in the next purchase, the next achievement, or the next escape. It's a practice, an ongoing dance between meaning, balance, and goodness. And when those three come together, you'll find that happiness doesn't need to be chased. It will be the ground you're already standing on.